Welcome to Long Bangers in association with Leith Spirits. I'm Matty.
Hello, I'm Colin.
And I'm John.
John, how are you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Also good. I feel like I'm a little bit flustered, and I don't know why. Like I was trying to get everything done quick, and there's no good reason for it.
You
Anyway,
did seem, I got the impression you were maybe flustered there. There was a quiet few seconds before we went live.
aye, there's no need for it at all.
Take a
Colin,
breath,
aye,
count to four.
I'll have a good scratch of ours. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm alright, aye. Aye. Wish I had a glass of red wine like he has, assuming it's not Ribena.
Aye,
No, it's not Ribena.
I saw that as well and thought that would be no bad. Well, if anybody's watching wants to take a wee minute to go and get yourself a wee red wine, on you go. Then let us stop you.
Or a cup of tea.
Or a cup of tea. Is that what you've got?
That is.
No, in a long bangers mug, I noticed there, Colin. You're off brand
'Cause I've
tonight.
got my big cup. The long bangers one's just a wee one. This is one of these big cups.
Fair enough. We can
And
deal with that.
are you hashtag stressed, Colin?
Aye, a wee bit. Aye.
John
Aye.
McGlynn said, "Evening, guys. Evening, John. How's it going?" Can't hear your answer, but there you go. Nice to ask
Thank you,
anyway, though,
sorry.
isn't it? Aye,
Yeah.
we'll take it. You're all right. Um, and Callum Andrews said, "Good evening" as well. And well, I think we've talked about that good evening thing before. I'll not go any further. Dan said, "Evening all, still a good run and massive game against Aberdeen coming up, and attendance will do me." Yeah, good to see people getting the Sunday night drinking anyway, John. You're setting a good standard there. Right, let's get wired into this. We'll talk about the team selection. John, I think we got the team selection bang on our preview because
Yes.
we had the same team, didn't we?
He's did.
If I remember
Yeah.
right.
I
He's did.
think, yeah. No, it came through. Paul had a message to say that you and I had picked the right team. And
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know whether that's, I think I'd replied and said something along the lines of great minds think alike or fools seldom differ. Makes you think.
I remember now. Um,
And to be fair, like I wasn't far. I got 10, right?
yeah.
So like, well done us. Big pats in the back all round.
You think, with the exception of Joe Newell and maybe Bowie to come in for Gale, you would think it's no far off our strongest 11, with the players that we have at the club.
Yeah,
Would you reckon, John?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. So I was just having a wee look at the bench there. Like I know that you were asking about the starting 11, and I was thinking about who might be on the bench that might come in as a starter. And then I was looking at the bench from another perspective, thinking who's on there that would come on and bolster the first team. And I think there's obviously always room for improvements.
Mm-hmm.
But I think starting 11 and the guys that are the backups, I think we've got a pretty strong side.
Aye,
I
I
don't.
don't know if
I didn't sound convinced there. I did
nah.
that
It was a
Australian
good
thing where I
question.
asked the question at the end.
Aye, I don't think it's a Colin. Do you think it's a strong side, like overall a strong squad?
No, no. I think the first 11's maybe decent, good. Like probably reflects the league position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the squad I think isn't. I think that we need to improve the first team, which then improves the squad because some of the first team are replaced by somebody better, and then they go on the bench, and then we've got a stronger bench.
Aye, I'm looking at the bench and thinking, right, so you've got Miller. I think you can toss a coin sometimes between Miller and Chris
Yeah,
Cadden. My preference is probably Chris Cadden. I'm probably contradicting myself from earlier in the season where I suggested keeping Miller and
that's all right. That's football.
Cadden go. Yep, you learn. Hey, learn as you go. It's a moving picture. What
Make
I
it up as you go.
figured out with football is you're never right or wrong for long. Like you think
Mhm.
I'm right here, and then very quickly it changes. So I'm fine with being wrong. Doesn't matter. Miller and Abita for Nicky Cadden. Again, Nicky Cadden's better than Abita, I think, but it's no huge drop off if Abita comes in on that side. Um,
That's the kind of replacement. That's what I mean. What I'm trying to get at is like if we buy a first team player,
yeah.
and then the first team player drops to the bench, and you go, well, we brought Nicky Cadden in. We've got a beater in reserve, and that's like, as you say, he's probably more defensive minded, but he's a good player. He was player of the year not long ago, and he's on the bench.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like that's how you get the improvement in the squad by making the first team better, and then these guys are you're no worried when Obita comes on. You're not like, oh fuck's sake, well, we can do team here.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was driving at as well. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
so Abita comes in there potentially for um Iredale, potentially for Nicky Cadden if you find yourself in that position. I think he's quite strong. But then you also have, say, Boursig's obviously had his challenges this year. If he was to come in for Smith, you might be a little bit worried. If Mariah Welsh or Kaharovic was to come on for someone in midfield, you might be a little bit more concerned about that. So Mariah Welsh potentially is the player who could be improved upon. Abita, I think we're quite comfortable with.
And just before we move away from the team, what do you think of that top that Burrow's wearing? Is it
It's a
yes
wee
or
bit-
no?
Too much going on, mate, for me.
I didn't mind it. It's got like a bit of a sort of cyberpunk Judge Dredd look and feel to it.
It reminds me of a 1990s goalie top.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what
But
about like a George Campos USA '94, but obviously without the load of colours.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I probably wouldn't get one, but I didn't mind it. Anyway, right, on
Are
to
you just
the.
putting your birthday list out? Just like that. Just
If anybody's
if you're listening, then you buy him that one.
Didn't get
Oh,
that
here.
one. Nah.
That's something we could do. We could start setting up like Amazon wish lists for listeners to buy us presents.
Well, what we need to do is we promote things and then we put a link on and folk go and buy it and then we get money off them buying it. I think that's the way to do it these days. And right, on to the game itself. Colin, what did you make of the game?
Oh, I found it a really hard watch. Like I wasn't at the game. I watched it. I watched it in full. I think 15 minutes in, I was going, how do I keep my eyes open here? I was struggling a bit. I thought it was at the usual, is how I would describe it up there. Shit game, shit pitch, playing as effectively a gang. We can cope with it very well. Shite.
Aye, fair summary. John, what did you make of it?
Not much different, to be honest. The pitch was thinking, which impacted the quality of the football for most players. I thought some players did okay with it. Otherwise, it was a slog. It was 90 minutes, and we hoped that, but I hoped that one goal was going to be enough, and sadly it wasn't to be. Because I honestly think that like the only thing that was going to separate the sides because of the type of game, because of the football that was being played, was going to be a goal.
There's obviously, and we'll come on to the two really big talking points with the penalties that were given against us. We'll cover them. The conditions were a big level, we'll call them, weren't they? Like that pitch and the weather just made for a kind of shitey spectacle, didn't it?
Aye, but we should have known that. We must have known that. Like we knew the weather was shite. We knew the pitch was shite a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned that on here, just in passing when we got in a different conversation. When they played Celtic, it was like frozen over. It was right to fuck. Then the weather was shit on Friday. There was a pitch inspection Saturday. You're thinking, this is going to be a mud bath or just a shit pitch. It just is. So we should know that going into it. But and we did. But we done all right. Like we nearly won. I just get disappointed when we play shit teams and drop points. We throw so many points away to like the real shit teams. I get annoyed when it's like decent shit teams like Dundee United and that, but the real shit teams, like the teams that are going to be the bottom two, bottom three of the league, Ross County, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, they're the worst three teams in the league. And like Kilmarnock, well, we did have drop points through there as well this season. It's like you've got to be you've got to beat the real shit in the league, and then you actually need to beat the whole bottom six teams to be, and you finish third if you do that. Like
Is
that's
this-
what Dundee United done, but we
Was
keep
this the
losing
first
points.
time that we played Ross County at Dingwall this season? The reason I ask you is when we
no, I
played
don't
Kilmarnock when we dropped points, was that when Abita gave the penalty away? It was the
Aye.
start of the season. We were having a real hard time. Like, have we still got that opportunity to go back to Rugby Park?
We'll go back to Rugby Park. We'll definitely be back away there because that was at the start of the season. I'm not sure. We only played. I think we've been up there already this year because we only played
We
at
must
home in
have been,
December.
because we've done like the 2 rounds of fixtures, haven't we? This is
We played. The home game was in December, so there must have been an away game like September or something. But I can't remember. But I'm predicting we never won. Well, we wouldn't have because we never won a fucking game at the start of the season.
I'll tell you the now. It was 0-0. It was a
Aye.
complete bore fest. 0-0.
Was that midweek game?
It was.
Oh, is that the one where Chianti stuck one over the bar after his Maisie?
30th October, whatever night 30th October was, that's when we played them 0-0 up there. It is a tough place to go, Colin, but I actually agree with you that we sort of accept it, and even
Aye, we do.
David Gray said it after the game. It's no disaster, and I think that's probably like a no bad way to look at it. It's no disaster, but you have to win. Like if you've got ambitions, like these are the games that you need to win. And you're right. Like a couple of weeks ago, McDermott Park against 10 men, and we got a point. You know, so it's 4 points dropped out of those two games that
Yeah.
really,
Massive 4 points. Yeah, we'd be fourth in the league or something now, sitting with them. You know, just with that, just be beating the two worst teams in the league, and actually just get a second goal. Like, because I think yesterday just need a second goal and that kills it. The longer it goes 1-0, teams always think they've got a chance against us.
Ian on YouTube says, a tough place to go is a cop out. I'm afraid we need to be better.
Yeah.
Keith said the league's so tight now from second bottom to fourth. We need to keep picking up points. And John said not you, John. John McGlynn said of these current three fixtures, Ross County, Aberdeen, St Mirren, it was County away was the one I was most worried about. And Keith said, was it not a Wednesday night last time up there? It was. I suppose, like, how do you get out of that habit though? Because it is historically it has been a tricky place for us to go. So how do you get beyond sort of seeing a point as a decent result?
Yeah, are you asking me?
Either you both
winning.
looked like to have a think about it there, but
no, I thought John was going to answer it. I seen him go take an inhale. I suppose we got to like win. Like win 2 in a row or something, and then we go, come on, why do we make a big fucking deal about this? Why do we just go? Like, even when we're looking at the 6 ahead, what's the next 6 games? Oh, Ross County away, that'll be a hard one. Why? They're shite.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like it's in our heads. It's in I'm sure it must be in their heads. Like, oh, it'll be a tough one. Oh, they fancy a cold Saturday at Dingwall. All that stuff is.
So are we back
how many
to,
home games have they won this season? Like,
are we,
is that a tough place for everybody, or just us?
Well, I
so
mean, Ronnie Farmer on YouTube said Celtic weren't great at County either. It is a tough place to go. I think Celtic finished that game 4-1, but it was like 1-1 right up until kind of the last couple of minutes, and Celtic obviously then went and scored a wee lot of goals right at the end. You have seen teams struggle. I mean, Hearts went up there. I mean, Hearts are also shy, but took a 2-goal lead and finished 2-2 hilariously. So you do see Ross County kind of getting results at home. I don't think it's an easy place, but it would be good to get ourselves into the position where it was an easy place to go to. You're going fucking bottom of the league, we're away from home, just go and beat them and come back to the points. John, let's start with the positive for the Hibs performance. Dylan Levitt's goal. What do you remember of it?
It was a really good strike, really good setup from Triantis. I think I want to say sort of like flicks it into his path. It's definitely like a sort of drag with outside his foot. And I think that was after his Cadden squared it or his Boyle squared it. One of those two, and Levitt's just kind of stabbed it first time beyond the keeper.
Triantis bit a lovely wee back heel to him.
Aye, sorry, but before Triantis, before the ball
got you.
reaches Triantis. I don't know. It was a really good strike from a player who has his critics, but I think on a couple of occasions now, you get to see that sort of quality that he has with the ball at his feet, which I think demonstrates why he's picked, and also I think shows that it's no accident, like it's no fluke that he just stabs one in for age.
Can I just say, I've just double checked here, or not double checked, I've just checked. Ross County are second bottom in the home league table this season.
Right.
St Johnstone's bottom.
So they're shy at home as well.
But can we quantify that further, like in terms of like how many points they've gained at home? Like
the second least out of the whole division. 14.
So they've picked up 14 points at home.
Mm-hmm. 3 wins, 5 draws.
How many times have they been beaten there, Colin?
5.
5.
13 games, yeah.
13 games, right. Well,
what does that tell us then in terms of their form? That
they're
just are they just as likely to lose as they are to draw?
Aye.
But
they didn't win very often, and I suppose they never won. They played us twice, and they've not beat us either time. They've gone up.
And we're 2 of the draws.
Aye. Dylan Levitt, John, while we're on the subject, I mean, what do you make of his game overall on Saturday? Because there is this sort of clamour to get Levitt into the team, and sometimes he looks great, sometimes he looks like he's missing. What did you make him on Saturday?
Well, I think when we talked about it before, I think there was maybe a few eyebrows were raised because there seemed to be a bit of clamour to get him in and get him in specifically playing as number 10. However, I think in the last few games that he's played, he's slotted into the position vacated by John Yo. And I I don't think he stands out, but I don't think his role within the team is designed for him to stand out. I think he's a take the ball for the defence, turn and find a pass elsewhere, like kind of keep the game moving. So I thought what he did for the 60 minutes that he was on the pitch was fine. And I realised that that's 3 games now, I think, on the spin that he's been subbed on 60 minutes, either because he's knackered. Well, I think there was maybe a suggestion of a knock that he'd taken against Clydebank. But there are other players in the team, and I think Joe Newell's the starter. So to refer to a conversation earlier, there are I think we would prefer to have Newell start, and then it might be that Newell slightly edges out the others in terms of like the others being Quon and Mariah Welsh that might figure in there.
One of the things to move the conversation on a wee bit, David Gray, calling in his post-match interview, said that he thought we did enough to win the game. Looking at the stats, it probably bears it out. Obviously, the stats are skewed a wee bit because Ross County had a couple of penalties. Do you think we did enough to win the game?
Do we not include the penalties? Is that what we're saying to that? In normal run of play, we were probably the better team, had a lot more possession, we had one more shot on target. And I know XG is not liked by a lot of folk, but the XG suggests we didn't even reach 1 on that, according to BBC Sport. It was 0.79 or something. Can't remember saying it last night. And St John's, for fuck's sake, Ross County's was a lot higher, but then they had 2 penalties, which are high scorers on that chart. So we maybe sneaked it a wee bit. Like, it's like if we sneaked away with a 1-0, you'd go, we probably deserved it. But 1-0, I don't know if you can really argue with it, because I think we created enough to. I can't even really remember the goalie making any saves.
I didn't have I mean, neither keeper had a lot to do, really. John, do you think we did enough in an attacking sense to come home with the points? Penalties aside.
I do, and I realise that other people aren't privy to the conversation, but you guys were separately having a conversation about XG, and I was taking a piss at you saying that you two love a chat about XG. But there was a question about why do some people exclude penalties from their XG, and I think that helps demonstrate why, because it maybe gives you a bit more of a balanced look at the game. But anyway, that's by the by. I do think that we were worth 3 points. Like, not massively. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit anyone and say that we absolutely dominated the game or whatever. Like, we scored from open play. They had 2 opportunities from controversial penalty kicks. But we also had, so like when we're talking about saves that their keeper didn't have to make, there was one, Nicky Cadden, I think the keeper's got a foot to it that's put out for a corner. So there was attacking play there from Hibs. That's one example. I'm sure there were others that I think demonstrates that we were on a shitty day of football. We were the more we were the team with more football intent.
I think that sums it up. Really, like that. I don't know if you're going to get me an accurate description of it. Like we definitely forced the game more than Ross County did, and appeared to create more chances. But let's talk about these 2 penalties, because that's what all the talk after the game was about. We'll start with the first one. So the ball comes in for our right hand side, goes right across the goal, bounces in front of Cadden. That's Nicky Cadden. Hits his hand. I think Smith saves it, tips it around the post. And we all think it's going to be a corner. Next thing, VAR's having a look, and a penalty's given. The referee goes to the monitor, and a penalty's given. Colin, penalty for you or not?
No, right. I don't think it is. I think
what's your thinking?
My thinking is, so he's turning his body away from it. It's touched him, but there's nobody behind to tap it in. There's no advantage gained by it. It's not deliberate. He's he's not stretched out to reach it, to deliberately deflect it. All of that kind of stuff. Did touch his hand, but I don't think that should. I don't think there's any advantage gained by it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that means that you can, if there's nobody around you, you can catch the ball, but it's clearly accidental. Skipped up off the turf, which I know is not a mitigation, but it's just it's an incident. Not one of the Ross County players even put their hand up for it. Now, I will admit, my brother-in-law was behind the goals and he texted me going, that looks like a handball. At the game, he was thinking that's a penalty live with his own eyes for behind the goals. So some Hibs fans behind the goals thought, fuck, that's a penalty. So, and I've seen the chat about it on the message boards, and it's a bit of 50-50 actually. At the time, it was quite like, fucking, how's that? That's never a penalty. And blaming VAR, even though it was the referee, as we know, that gave the decision. I think that's the worry for me is like, VAR event, the ball has factually hit his hand. And so he's went and had a look and decided it's a penalty, and you go, is that what we're applying? Because I think I said to you, and I'm sorry for blabbing on, John, but I think I said yesterday to you that the SFA have got some kind of guidelines on handball this year that says that is a penalty. And because I know that for what I watch Ref Watch, or I try and catch Ref Watch on a Monday, or see the clips or whatever. I mean, there's a handball in England. There's usually chat because then there's probably been one in Scotland that's been given as a penalty that's not been given in England, and they almost like go, I bet you what they're doing up there, they fucking idiots. That's almost what they're saying. These fucking clowns up the road, they're getting handball every time the ball touches anybody's hand. And it seems to be we as a country have went, that's the rule. Now, doesn't explain how we didn't get one at Tynecastle. And I think there was maybe one today. I've only seen chat about it on Twitter. I've not seen it because I didn't get in till towards the end of the Dundee United game. So they are making it inconsistent themselves. I believed that was the rule that they were applying this year. Any handball is a penalty. But I don't think it is. I don't think it should be.
Aye. What about you, John?
Well, at the risk of being called out for comments I've made previously about penalties, I think I've said, I don't know whether it's been on the podcast or in like conversations with folk, but it's hit his hand. And so I have to stand by my guns and say I think it's a penalty. However, there's two angles that you watch it on the replay. The first one, I think there's nothing in that. The second one, where I was watching it live at the time, I went, I think this was the angle that you saw, or sorry, the angle that was broadcast while the referee was at the monitor. I thought, well, that's going to be a penalty because it didn't have any of the other sort of mitigating factors, like it's maybe like bounced up off the Ross County player's foot or whatever and hit him on the hand. And I think what's done him is the fact that the Ross County player hasn't got anything on it. And I think Cadden is perhaps expecting it, so he's done whatever he's done, and his hand's out. So for that reason, it's a shite one because of the circumstances, but I do think it's a penalty.
I thought it shouldn't have been a penalty. But I listened to David Gray's interview after it, and he said he asked the referee, and the referee basically he almost had some criteria for it, like it's come from a long distance.
Yeah.
He's not had an obstructed view really, and his hands up. Which I think his hands in an unnatural position for somebody who's running, but it is out away from his body. So his silhouette, let's talk about, was bigger. I think though the fact that it's coming a long way is almost a bit of an irrelevance, and this is where you need referees, I think, to put a bit of common sense in it. And you look at the conditions in the pitch, and the ball's bounced up off the pitch and hit him. So it's almost like that sort of almost unpredictable sort of bounce that's caught him out. Clearly no deliberate handball, right? Which used to be the sort of the measure for it. Although fuck knows how they deemed whether somebody meant it or no.
At the risk of making a pun, if the shoe was on the other foot, would we have wanted that penalty?
Aye, well, this is what I was coming to. I would have been shouting for it. Like if it had gone another way, I think it's one of these ones that if the referee didn't give it, you can understand why he's not giving it. And by the same token, if he gives it, you sort of go, right, you've seen other ones like that given. So
I don't think I'd have been going mad at that for not giving that if we had never got it. I always try and apply
Mhm.
that, John. Like your question there. I usually try and apply that. And if we hadn't got that, I don't think I would have been going daft about it because
Because
I don't see what there's no advantage. There's no advantage to what he's done or to what he's accidentally done.
and I don't know whether that's the problem with the laws of the game, because I think the word that we're seeing used quite often recently is subjectivity.
Mhm.
So if you apply, if it hits your hand in the box, irrelevance or advantages or mitigating factors like bouncing up off of boots or body parts or whatever, remove all subjectivity. If it hits you in the hand, it's a penalty.
Yeah, the rules are there are no rules because we just fucking decide on the day.
So it's doing the
Well,
referee
well,
ultimately,
I
isn't
mean
it?
that's a
It's
problem.
his interpretation.
And I
Uh,
think I think the complicating factor is Colin alluded to before with England and Scotland, and the other one that wasn't given today was the Dundee United one. And applying my logic to it, I'm like, that's a penalty. And
Mhm.
actually, I think if you apply the logic of the SFA guidelines, whatever they are this season, like it's hit the boy's hand, like the body, like the arms out, he's not even looking at the ball. If you want to, I don't know if these are legitimate things or if they are things that the SFA and the official would use to say it was or it wasn't a penalty.
We
To
should
me,
get
it
an
looked a
explanation
clear penalty.
on Willie Collins' next show with Gordon off the
aye,
super scoreboard.
they should talk about it when they do it. I think where's the frustration is, like you said, Colin, we had Boxing Day at Tynecastle where there was a handball and they had a look at it, and I don't even think they took the referee to the monitor with it, did they?
No, I don't think
Which,
so. Because
which,
I'm saying with VAR, I'm going, well, if the ball's hit his hand, that's a factual element. They can look at
aye,
did you maybe want to go and have a look and see if you think it was deliberate or or due
aye.
a pen.
So
But they never.
I suppose the difference there would be if the referee seen it hit his hand and said, play on,
Mhm,
and VAR's had a look at it and gone, all right, we're happy with your decision, referee.
mhm.
And I think what's happened on Saturday is the referee's no seen the ball hit Mickey Carden's hand, which is
Because
why
nobody did.
VAR's made him go and look at it. Um, and we had the Aberdeen one as well, Kim and the boys lying on the deck
Aye,
and flicks
aye,
his hand out to hit it,
of
and we
course.
didn't get that. So it is frustrating.
I was screaming for that one. That was right in front of me. I was at that end of the East that,
Aye.
that night. That was the midweek game. Yeah.
Then let's have a look at the second penalty. So the ball comes into the box, striker gets just ahead of Smith, who sort of shapes to make the save. Ball goes wide, boy goes down. Referee gives a penalty. Uh, John, will start with you on this one. What did you think? Is it a penalty or is it no?
I didn't think it was a penalty, and I didn't think that the explanation given to David Gray was satisfactory, for want of a better word, because reckless is not. It's at the end of a long list of words that I would use to describe the contact or Smith's challenge. I would say one question that I'd ask to yourselves or like any goalkeepers out there, what was that a natural way for Smith to be coming out to try and collect the ball or to challenge for the ball? I thought it was odd,
Mental.
but I'm not a goalkeeper.
Neither am I, and none of us would be too good at football, right? But the actual, I think the way it looked like he was assuming the striker wasn't going to get it, and I'll just catch it. It was like he's,
Yeah.
but so that assumption's what's fucked him because he went the wrong way, and then that left his legs dangling. Whereas actually, if he could have went to the ball or stayed in his feet, or I don't know, it may have been a different situation because the striker fucked it anyway.
Mhm.
Striker fucked it.
Hmm. I think it's maybe I realise I'm maybe talking myself out of whether it was a penalty or not, but is it at least consistent? Because if you remember the Joe Newell puts in a challenge against, was it Furuhashi, and he gets the shot away, but Celtic still get awarded the penalty.
Mhm.
So in this instance, the Ross County player makes contact first, and then Smith
Aye,
hits him.
that seems to be the
I say
rule. I
hit,
think,
hit
isn't
him.
it?
Sorry, hit him sounds
Mate,
makes it sound reckless. He made contact.
the player made contact with Smith.
Yeah.
It was one of them. Like he's taking a shit touch or a shit shot, whatever one it was, and he's thought, I'll fall into the goalie here and I'll get a
Mhm.
penalty, or I'll see if I
Aye.
might get a penalty via him and have a look at it because he was falling towards Smith. Like Smith never took him out. As much as I'm saying maybe he's dived the wrong way or he could have done something different. But I think in isolation, just looking at that, I go, the strikers fell into him. But then would I be shouting for that? Aye, probably.
Well, we had Martin Boyle the semi final against Aberdeen last season.
I was shouting for that. Massive.
not exactly the same, but similar in that he's knocked the ball. And it'd be interesting to see where the ball was at the point of contact on Saturday, because I think one of the reasons they gave for not giving us a penalty against Aberdeen was that the ball was out of play when the contact happened. So,
but there was John Yule was involved in the other one as well. Was it Kilmarnock? Down at
On the
the
touchline.
Dunbar end. Yeah.
Aye. Yep, that's right.
aye. So I don't know. I think it's. I mean, the referee makes a decision on it. VAR didn't interfere because they thought it was not clear and obvious. David Gray explained that in his post match as well. He says there is contact, so if they show him it on the screen, he's going to see the contact. That's what he said he saw. So they go with the referee's decision and the penalty is given. I thought it was a fucking harsh one. I thought, like you said, Colin, I thought the striker played for it. You have to question Smith. I think like his actions probably invited that as well. So it was a dull cracking save for the first penalty for him, though. You know, like to give the Yang his performance, like he saved the first penalty well. Shit penalty, but it was a good save.
You go the
I think
right way,
that's-
that's it. You have to
I
go the
think
right way
that's-
first.
It's one of the things that makes it the most frustrating is that he had already saved the penalty to then go and give one away at that time of the game. Just it, probably as much of a bitter pill to swallow as it was costing us the additional 2 points.
Right, going to pick up some talking points on YouTube, and then we'll get the ones off of Blue Sky and Twitter. So, Alan Anderson, Levitt is playing too deep. Simple as that. Ian's asked, right, so could David Gray have been more ruthless and make changes quicker to be on top and in control of the game, so we weren't in a position to be dropping points late on? John, do you think the substitutions were too late? Could you have brought the likes of Bowie on earlier or Mariah Welsh on earlier?
It's like the double-edged sword that David Gray has, isn't it? Like if he makes the subs and it works out, he gets the plaudits. If he makes the subs and you drop points, he gets criticised for it. I thought we were in control of the game. I thought the changes that we made were like on reflection. Like I'm not to be honest, like I never really look at the substitutes and go, or sorry, very rarely look at the substitutes and think you've done that too late or you've done that too soon. Sometimes you look at a player and you'll think, fuck, he's blown at his arse, he's getting beaten by his opposite number, so he could probably do a bit of change for fresh legs. I thought yesterday the substitutes were reasonable, if nothing else. Like I know that, I'm saying reasonable, and I feel like I can hear the voices saying, aye, but reasonable's not fucking good enough. That's not the mentality that you want. We should be going out and winning the game. I thought the game was won. Like the game was shit, the football was shit, and I thought we had done enough at that point to win it. And I thought it was just about seeing the game out. I don't think the substitutes that we made invited Ross County onto us.
Ian said we're still liable to implode given we're only one up, so we have to score more when we got the chances.
Can I maybe not disagree with that, but dig into that just a little bit further, because you mentioned about I don't know which one of you it was that mentioned the penalties and it creating a bit of stir, creating a bit of conversation. I don't like David Gray described it in his post-match interview as not being a disaster. Like it was, we could have had the 3 points, but we came away with one. It's not a disaster. And actually, if we win the games in the coming week and other teams drop points around them, then we could still creep up the table. Like we still gained a point. We still came away with more than 0, which is great. Okay, not great. It was okay. It's not great. But why do you think the 2 penalties, you're now starting to see some of the same sort of voices and critiques and negativity reappearing? Again, this isn't a criticism of Ian's point. It's more just an observation of some of the stuff that was going on around the game. And actually, we came away with a point. We're still like Motherwell, I think, got beaten by St Johnstone.
Yeah.
So we're just ever so slightly creeping up. So I can't quite
teams below us,
understand.
the teams above us all lost or drew, I think, whereas the teams below us won. So St Mirren and somebody else.
Hearts.
Can't remember. Hearts. Aye. That's who else won. So they've caught up. So it's not like we'd gained a point, yes, on Motherwell and Dundee United and Aberdeen, but they've gained 2 on
points.
us.
Aye.
I don't. I suppose. Sorry, to go back to what I was saying before, like to the question I asked, I don't think it was an implosion. I'm not sure where some of the conversation and some of the negativity has come from, like people going at each other. I don't like it. It feels, I don't know, tempestuous, like a bit, just a wee bit OTT.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because we've not signed anybody, John. I think folk were. I think, and this isn't a criticism of people necessarily, more an observation, but I think folk had kept the powder dry until they found out what happened on Saturday. They'd already sort of made a bit of noise about Hibs no signing anybody. I'm sure somebody actually said on Twitter that we're the only team in the top flight not to have signed anybody yet. And I don't think Celtic have signed anybody yet, but I could be wrong. But we're one of two that haven't signed, or we're the only one that haven't signed as we go into the last couple of weeks of the window. And I think the argument was sort of building. You sort of started to see it in posts and tweets that if we didn't win against Ross County, if we didn't win next week against Aberdeen, it's evidence that we've not taken the transfer window seriously enough. We've not tried hard enough to get new players in and that kind of thing. So I think that frustration, along with the fact that we've had kind of a couple of draws recently as well, which isn't quite as good as winning, as you know, to state the obvious, and have the teams beneath us kind of stay in touch with us when we've been on this good run. I think that's where that frustration probably comes from. It's just like a wee sort of perfect storm with it.
Yeah. How likely is it, do you think, that if Hibs don't sign anyone, that those tensions can continue to simmer? And how likely is it that those like fractious conversations derail what Hibs have done? Like, we're 9 games unbeaten now. We're on a good run.
But right, so what I would say with that is I think it's all about the framing of it. Like, really, so yes, we're on a good run. Yes, we're 9 unbeaten, but I think we've had 3 draws and 1 win in the last 4 games. So it's no, like, although the last 4 we've not lost any games, but actually it's no great points return for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you have this.
The 3 draws were against. One of them was St Johnstone after coming from behind.
The league. Yeah.
St Johnstone, Ross County, and Rangers. And we beat Motherwell, who are up and down in our enemy. But I mean, it's not like, it's not negative to be on an unbeaten run. Obviously, you'd rather be on an unbeaten run than losing. But I think our most recent, could we look at the form guide when we do a preview show? We've gone from, you know, being really, really shite all season to going to the top of the form guide and now slowly dropping back down it again. It's because of these draws. And we all had that wee glimmer where you're thinking third maybe isn't out of reach yet, or fourth maybe isn't out of reach yet. And the games start chipping away and you go to the second bottom in the league and didn't win. You go to the bottom team in the league and you didn't win. These are where the frustrations come in, and when folk are wanting new players in. Now, I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think there's any way we get to the end of the window and didn't bring anybody in. I think it's not going to happen. Hibs will sign players this window. I would almost put my house on it. But if the longer it takes for us to do it, any points that we drop in the meantime are a stick to beat the club with for some who do that.
A question I was going to ask there was, I think the point that you made about the form table is a valid one, but are you concerned at all about a drop-off in Hibs' performances or individual performances since then?
No, I'm quite comfortable with it, because I didn't think we played that bad when we were shite. Like, we didn't get necessarily the results that we should have done in some of the games. We were shite in some of them, but I think we've kind of got a fairly consistent level of performance. I thought we deserved to win yesterday. I thought we controlled most of the game, as we do a lot of the games that we play. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but it doesn't take long for that to. But if the results don't always match it, that's when you start to worry. And Derek McInnes was talking about Kilmarnock post-match yesterday after he'd finished blaming the referee, which he normally does after they lose. Every week.
Mentality, that's a bit of mentality, though.
And he was saying about trying to get the message through to his players that they're running out of games to achieve it. And that'll happen to us as well. Like, we want to make sure we finish in the top 6.
I was going to say we go into the last game before the top six every year needing a point that we don't
Aye.
get, and there's 2 of the 3 away again.
Aye. So it's not. I'm not concerned now. I think we're playing all right, and I think who was it mentioned? Somebody mentioned Bowie coming back as being like a new signing on the comments. We've got Bowie back, we've got Kukovic back, we've still got Newell to come back into the team, we've still got Ekpiteta to come back into the team. So the team will get stronger, even if we didn't make any signings. But I think we will also make signings as well. Ian said he wasn't meaning it negatively, he was just asking opinions if we could have done anything better, and points out that we are only 7 points behind third. I didn't, to be fair, Ian, I didn't take it as a negative question either, but I totally get your
I
line
get
of
John's
question,
point,
John.
though,
Yeah,
not on
yeah.
that, not on Ian, on the point that there's people sitting, waiting to snipe. Right, there's still like probably no one us to sign anybody that you can question Malky Mackay, right? Like because the folk just wanting him to get hammered all the time, no matter what, and they're like, no signed anybody. What's his job? What's he doing there? He's not done nothing. He's not doing anything. And it's like as if like he's sitting with his finger up his arse doing HTC. You know what I mean? And it's like, so there's one. They've already got Ken Salute, right, so that they can stop moaning about that. And there's like they've got to be proved right. And so they're sitting there going, we've not signed anybody. It's nearly end of January. Although I think the window, I think it's next Monday, 3rd of February, something like that.
The 3rd of February, 11 o'clock, I think.
So that's the thing we're still dealing with, and I don't know when that'll ever go away because how divisive the appointment of Malky Mackay was.
I think the reason that I questioned wanted to dive into Ian's question further was just around the use of the word implosion, because I think we've seen implosions from Hibs side, and I don't think I
two
would
different
characterise
Ians there, by the way. I
yesterday's.
should point out.
Oh, different Ians.
Two different Ians. Yeah, sorry, I should have pointed that
Oh,
out.
apologies. Aye, sorry. I wouldn't characterise yesterday's point as being an implosion.
No. Kieran said not all criticism is bad. It can be expectation as well. Grace set a stall out winning these games, so we know him and the team are capable. John said, I think 1 or 2 signings along with the players due to come back from injury will be sound. Jack said, not a good performance when Livy just put 3 past the same mob at Dingwall. And Ramey says, hi lads, sorry to say, but the handball was right in front of us. Myself and about 6 others rounded about and said that was a penalty straight away. And that was before the ref got any call from VAR. Keith said, with Kensal being away, will that impact any business? I wouldn't have thought so. Colin, would you like the transfer activity will only stand still because Kensal's no there?
No, I don't think it will. I think that was in his role for this year anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right, going to go to Blue Sky. WTC 1981 said, easy to complain about the penalties. However, we didn't do enough in the second half to cause Ross County problems. Ball wouldn't stick up top and we invited pressure. I loved Dwight Gale. Thought in that game would have been more effective off the bench. But unbeaten run continues. More than the Hibs. Gale seemed to really be blowing at his arse for a lot of that game. I think somebody on our group chat said that the running wasn't great for him. And I thought that was like a good explanation. Like he looked like he was struggling with the conditions.
On the day, the training centre should see his motors.
Was it? Is he not got a Lamborghini or something? Is he not?
Oh, he's got
one of them, the Range Rover Sport.
Yeah.
He's got 2, both private plates. Tremendous.
Brilliant.
See the question around White Gale and fitness and blowing at his arse or whatever. I think a few weeks ago I'd suggested that he was only good for about, like, say 45 minutes or even less than that. And I think you both pointed out that in the 2 previous games he played 90 minutes. So where are we? Where do we lie on Dwight Gale's fitness? Is he fit? Is he unfit? Is he
It's
getting
just
through
his
games?
manner, mate. He just looks fit. I think it's the way he's got a sort of a hobble almost, like that. He's just, so it might just be a perception thing rather than reality.
He's got
like he just
a particular
looks
gait.
Green Tea said, would those moaning about lack of signing be happy just to have anyone through the door? We can't make someone sign for Hibs. The club will be looking. I don't want us to sign 4th, 5th, or 6th choice. But that's reasonable, isn't it? Like, I mean, you're not wanting anybody just for the sake of getting a sign in. And like, I've seen this argument come up on Hibsnet, and folk go, well, other clubs are doing it. Are they just signing anybody, or are they managing to sign good players? And that's sort of like, well, if they're doing it, why are we no? But I suppose you don't know until you see who we actually sign. You don't know what it's like. The unknown. You're getting annoyed about something you didn't really know. So
I think I've seen the same challenge or the same sort of conversation on Hibs.net or Twitter or wherever, and it was one of the problems that we had previously that led to us having this bloated squad was just picking up players for here, there, and everywhere. Loads of them didn't impact the first team, didn't impact games if they were in the first team, and we wanted to move away from that. And now we're in that position where we're not making signings. Well, you should be out signing someone, anyone. Like, we need numbers, we need bodies, and it's true. Like, we do need bodies, and we've referenced this before, where we said that Malky Mackay and Garvin Stewart will have their work cut out for them, because we are in a position where we are probably, I think, probably ahead of where the club expected us to be based on comments at the start of the season. But we still have some of those same challenges. Like, there's still some players that need to be moved on, and you still need to identify the right additions to the team.
Mm.
And it's not, and I think, and in fact, I think I remember who it was. I think it was GD Hibs on Twitter. I might be, apologies if I'm plagiarising your comments and passing them off as my own. I'm absolutely not. Oh fuck, what was it he said? Like, it's no Football Manager. Like, you didn't just click a button and that's it. You've signed someone.
Aye.
It's no that simple.
I think I had this argument in Hibsnet as well. Like, we are Hibs fans, right? So we obviously have a skewed view of Hibs, but Hibs aren't a huge draw for players. Like, see, like a lot of clubs that there are in the world, if you've not got an emotional connection with Hibs, right, obviously we all think they're amazing. Right, it's our club, and we would play for them for nothing. Right, it's like that's a given. But if you're Joe Bloggs that plays for Tranmere Rovers or whatever, and you're looking at your next move, and Hibs are coming in, and Cheltenham are coming in, and maybe Millwall or whatever, and you're going to go with whoever's paying you the most, and Hibs probably aren't going to be the ones that pay you the most. It's a hard sell to get a player to Scottish football, and a hard sell to get them to Hibs. I think we do well to get players in, and there are things that make us an attractive club. But for like, if we go in for the same player as Aberdeen, for example, and they offer $2,000 a week, more, $2,000 a week doesn't sound that much. When players are getting 10, 12 grand, you think, oh, getting 10 grand still a lot. It's 100 grand a year plus a difference. Now, if I say to you, John, you can leave your current employer where you're quite happy and go to that employer, which maybe isn't quite a nicer place, maybe it doesn't have quite as nice a stadium, but I'll give you 100 grand a year more to go and do it, you would be like, aye, all right, I'll go and do that, because 100 grand's a lot of fucking money in a short career. So I get it. It's no easy to sign players, and I think some people forget that there's all these things contribute to it, and there's loads of competition for players as well.
I'm hearing those imaginary voices again saying, you're just being fucking tight, pay them what they're worth.
Pay them what you're worth, aye. Like you could just go and do like $1,000 a week, is 50 grand a year that you got to find. But if it's not in your budget, like, it's no pennies we're talking about. Anyway, so Kieran said, I hope we've not put all our focus into that young boy from Finland that we missed out with no backup. Robbie said, I don't think the January transfer window is really that easy. We don't want to sign players just for the sake of it. John said, mind and press like bangers. And that's a good point. Thanks everybody. Last time we said this, we got loads of likes on the last one. So please do keep hitting the like button for us, guys. Kieran said, Hearts signed 2 players who both got them goals yesterday. Forward looking like good business. If we don't watch, they could take our place in the top 6. Jillian said, referee was shocking and 2 dubious penalties. Wonder if we'll get another apology. A very scrappy game. Seeing the referee's performance earlier, I think Jason Ladd on the YouTube comments had said Dickinson is a cheat. Would love to see his stats when involved in our game. He was shocking yesterday. Penalties aside, what did you make of the referee's performance, Colin?
He's just one of those guys that it's like he either is a head teacher or he's a failed head teacher. You know, he just like looks like he's like, I'm in charge. Look, I've got my t-shirt nice and short. You know what I mean? Look at my arms. Like, look how fit I am. You know what I mean? It's like every eyes on me. But so I just think he's one of them. Everybody look at me. But having said that, we'll not get an apology this time.
No.
It's not blatant. They're not blatant. You know, like we've even argued yourself. Like, talked to yourself into saying, would we shout for it? Is it? It's a handball. You know what I mean? Like, so if we're disagreeing and we're no unanimous, there's no chance.
What about the advantage that he played for Hibs that he then pulled back for a Ross County foul?
Mental. Or the free kick right at the end that he gave to us. Like when
Mariah
Welsh come in, just
cleaned
the boy out. The boy
and
fell
he did that mistake because he thought, I've given that the wrong fucking way.
Oh man, just like their Bowie went in for a challenge with their player on the touchline. He just fell over and got a free kick, and he's a terrible referee. I think Liam for down the slope just said like in a league full of terrible referees, he's the worst, and he's no far off it if not the worst. Jeff said when I heard pitch inspection, I feared the worst when it was called on. My fears were realised. Poor game, but we were by far the better team. But it was a low bar. Karma decided to strike and give them 2 penalties. So far on the soft side, they were basically liquid. Good to see Bowie again. Robito said, "Never mind Aberdeen at home next up." Now I was ready to get stuck right into. I love fucking bamming them up on Twitter because they are, as I've said before, the worst fans gone. For when they're decent, you can't move for them trying to bam you up, and then when they're shite, they all disappear. They won a game in the cup, and we had one trying to noise us up on Twitter last week. They'll be quiet again now. I would love to have steamed in on them getting hammered yesterday, but we're playing them on Saturday. And I'm like,
no, but jinx it.
Wait, I didn't want to be the reason that we didn't win on Saturday. So,
and you still not got to take the same path down as you took the last time, Easter Road, though. I'm still not going to read the pre-match email. And I'm wearing my new Christmas watch that we've not lost a game since I started wearing. So I can't see how it can go any other way.
Aye, so long as everybody else remembers to do their bit and can wear your lucky pants and all the rest of it.
What was the status of Block 7's banner? Was that right way round or wrong way round
All
at the
upside
weekend?
down.
Upside down.
Actually.
It was still upside down.
Still upside down.
Aye. I don't know why.
Never change Block 7. Never change.
I'm still wearing the white shorts and white socks.
Aye. Paul said the ref seemed to have a shocker every time he has us. He does. Got to be one of the worst out there. He is.
Mind when he winked at the Rangers
aye.
When they got the VAR overturned. Don't worry about it. We'll sort this out.
Saying that we were very tame, but never really seemed to be in much trouble. Mikey Love said, keep us in the top 6 and great to see Levitt continuing to influence the team. Elston Paul said, we seem to fade a bit in the second half. Can't quite put my finger on what changed as the subs should have strengthened things. Very poor ref and VAR. Rafa said, 2 softest shite penalties, although nowadays the first is always a penalty. Ref was dreadful both ways and VAR poor as well. However, we just didn't create enough chances to win the game. VAR, poor, right? We had like a long conversation yesterday in the group chat with the boys for Down the Slope. I did anyway, with a wee bit of disagreement about
listeners. VAR. It was about 500 messages. I didn't even bother looking at them.
VAR was involved, so VAR would have reviewed both goals because it has to review the goals. Obviously, one of them was a penalty, so I think they only checked that the keeper never come off his line or whatever. But I had to show the referee the handball because VAR can't referee the game, and it's a factual thing. The referee's not seen it. The referee goes and decides it's a penalty. That's the referee's fault if it's wrong. And the other one's no clear and obvious that it's an error. So VAR didn't get involved, which is it shouldn't. The 2 big incidents in the game, I think VAR's done the right thing on both of them. Is it just the process is shite? Is that what the problem is with it?
I think it's the understanding of it. I think some of it's the understanding. I think some of it's the process in that it's we football. When I say we, I mean football and football fans don't want the game interrupted, want it to keep flowing, want the referee to be in charge and make the decisions. Whereas actually, to make it better, you could say to the guy that's got all the angles, tell the ref when he's wrong and tell him to overrule it, rather than stop the ref, tell him what's happening. Ref, what have you seen? What's on field? Oh, I'll go and check it. Aye, well, that's not clear and obvious, and just leave it. Whereas you go, nah, come on, mate. You've got it wrong here. Like, it's a handball, but he's not. It's a handball, but come on. It's just glanced on the way through. There's no advantage. Just play on, and that would get the game moving quicker. And the referee coming to the screen. But we think as fans that, or as football, we can't change it too much. Other sports just say to the ref that's got the telly with angles, tell that come when he's wrong. Just do it.
Aye.
Like rather than because Norway, there's a big thread in Hibs on it. Norway scrapped the VAR, and you're like, that's just backwards. That's like going. I watched the women's game today. By the way, well done to the women. That's them. They're right up there in the league race. Glasgow City 3-1 at home. They scored a goal onside for my eyes, watching it on the telly, and you think, could they be VR sorting it out to tell us that it is onside? The linesman got it wrong. But like we only talk about because I think people think. I actually seen a comment on Hibs.net today saying they've started checking all the goals. Like they've always checked all the goals. But it just shows lack of understanding of what actually they do. But that's because we don't get informed. because I think we're going to riot if we don't like the answer.
Aye. I like. Fucking alright. I didn't want to dedicate our episode to VAR. See if you're in the ground early enough, they put a wee display on the big screens with the PA reading out how VAR gets used. So the incidents that it gets involved with, what's in its remit and what's not, and what gets checked. And it's dead informative. Like if you didn't ken, it's a nice wee summary. The wee VAR review episodes with Willie Collum. Now, there's times I've watched it going, oh, he's talking shite. But you find out, like they play the audio, which we've shouted out for ages. Give us the audio, be transparent about it. They do that. They talk through the decisions. They say when they've got it wrong. They say when they've got it right. And then you've got the VAR panel as well, who come out and say, well, we're independent. We've looked at it and you've got that one wrong and these ones were all right. And it's all transparent. I think that's all a good thing for helping us as fans understand how it's getting used. And I think if you take the time, which, I mean, who wants to do that, I suppose? If you take the time to go and find these things, when you see the incidents, it does make it easier to take them, I think. Anyway,
See, when you said that if you're in the ground early enough, there's like a wee bit of insight into what VAR gets involved in and what it doesn't. Do you think how happier do you think fans would be if we were to start broadcasting that same message to pubs around Leith at 2 o'clock?
just put on, and again, I think the publicans would be happy because it's boring as fuck, and I'm already regretting the fact that we've spent this long on it. The Dynamo Monkeys said a timely reminder that we do need to freshen up the squad. Loans need to be cut short and new players brought in so starters feel as those on the bench are going to take their place. I don't think we need drastic change, but a few fresh faces would help. And aka Rab said another fine example of part-time officiating on display. We looked okay playing on a very difficult surface, and Digwall was always a tough place to go for any team. We move on to next week. Worried Don's due a scalping. Hope it's not us that get it. We've got on here's a Fishfinger said opinion on Connor Young. I think enough about Connor Young. I have an opinion on Connor Young, unfortunately.
I know he scored a lot of goals for Edinburgh City. He was a lad that was in the academy, jumped ship to Rangers. They didn't want him anymore, and he's back at City. But I think he's signed for Dunfermline during the week.
Oh, he did. Aye, they spent right enough. That's aye.
That was
good,
see how it goes in the Championship.
Good luck to the laddie. We also had Jack said, are we comfortable seeing the season out with Smith as a goalkeeper high on the priority list for the club at the moment? John, are we happy to see the season with Smith in goals?
I think short answer, no. Longer answer, I think because we've got a guy who was signed on loan, who was our first choice for a while, who never played well, there's an opportunity there to move him on and replace him, with the caveat that it's not just a Football Manager transaction. There needs to be someone available that's better to bring in.
Come up with you.
I agree. If we can get somebody better, bring him in. I'd be, I think, comfortable-ish to keep him for the rest of the season if we can't. And there's a better chance of getting somebody that makes the big improvement in the summer.
Yep,
I just think he's steady. He chucks a couple of ones in that you go, could he have done better there? But not ones that you go, fuck's sake, what did he do there? Like what Burswick was doing.
Aye. Linda Graham said Ross County's pitch is a mess, by the way, and Jordan Smith was good yesterday. Kieran said, got ourselves in a position where these refs have terrible careers, retire on the pitch, then go upstairs for them to tell the next refs how to make the same mistakes and have a terrible career. Jason said Ross County are a joke club, to be honest, would rather see Ayr and Falkirk in the league. And Fishfingers said, just wanted to see as I watch your podcast as a Dunfermline fan. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, Fishfingers. And I take back what I was saying about having good luck for that boy if he's playing us. No, did he?
I know she went to rub your nose there as well.
That's a lie.
Was the username? Aye.
Right, Kaiser Susie said, I have 2 eyes and can't see, but thousands of eyes are on me. What am I? It's David Dickinson is the answer. William Graham said, terrible ref, tatty field, and for some reason stopped playing and allowed County into the game. Created nothing in the second half. Lauren said, Barca would do well to play good on that pitch. Officials robbed us of the 3 points there and had taken a draw before the game after seeing the pitch, but disappointing to not win from our position. Stuart Anderson said, current squad is not good enough. We need a minimum of 3 quality signings to compete at the right end of the table. Smith is better than Bursick, but we need better. Alan McAndrew said, Dickinson did everything he could to ensure we drop points today. 2 of the softest PKs you will ever see. then stopping a beat in his tracks for a foul on Bowie in injury time when we had the advantage and County were up the park. Incompetent and corrupt to the core. And Andrew Brown said, officials have denied us 2 points. County offered nothing. Worrying how we dropped off once Levitt went off. Really need Newell back or reinforcements in midfield.
Or get Levitt to play more than 60 fucking minutes. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I know.
Maybe his wee legs can't do more than 60 minutes. Like maybe he gets all his running in an hour and that's him done.
Aki said, snap, honestly, the pitch was a tatty field. Ref was a shocker. VAR just as bad as meant to sort out on field's mistakes.
I can't remember the last time I saw a football pitch where the goal mouth was properly muddy, like not a blade of grass on it. It looked like something. There was a video that I saw a couple of years ago of, I think it was for Match of the Day for like the 1970s, and they were playing on a pitch and there was no
Like
grass
sand
in it
pitch.
whatsoever. Aye.
You remember
And
the Chelsea
that's what the
pitch?
goal mouth was like.
It was only in the 2000s. Mind, it was just like sand, like
Aye.
on the beach.
I mean, Motherwell's pitch was like that for a wee while, and they did it. I was expecting to see a scarecrow on the pitch on Saturday. That was kind of like how bad it was. Right, we are just about out of time now. One thing that was pointed out to me, if you're watching this live on YouTube, is that when we end the series, so we always finish off like when we say a nice wee cheerio at the end of the episodes, and if you listen to it as a podcast, you'll know that because you'll hear it.
And a reminder to subscribe.
And a reminder to subscribe, as well. But what we found out on Friday after we done the preview show is a guy called Ian very kindly got in touch and said, but by the way, do you know you cut off the end of your episodes all the time when you're watching it live? And so I think what we're going to have to do when we finish here is, do you ever watch Police Squad?
Yeah.
And at the end of Police Squad, where they just all stand still, where they're like pouring coffee or whatever, so then they take a drink or that, because we're going to have to finish and then keep the stream going until I can see it finishing on my screen up here.
I'll put it on my phone, right, so I can see when it ends.
And we can signal. What I might put my hand up, or no, I have to watch because you didn't want to get like.
No.
You didn't want maybe two hands, like I'm surrendering. If I did it one hand, you end up in like fucking that.
Two hands is more Police Squad, isn't it?
Aye, that would be Space Karen and getting accused of things like I don't know what we labelled with that cunt. Right, so. We're saying we're wrapping up. To cut a long story short, sorry we've mucked it up. All these episodes, if you've been watching us live, it's totally my fault. I just didn't can. So I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to say thanks for tuning in. Go and subscribe. Hit the like button if you haven't already and you're watching on YouTube. And we will see you next time. And Colin John, sit still. Colin, you're going to signal away because mine's is even further behind, I think.
That's me just signalled on there now, doing that as John's car just gone past.
Have I put my hands up yet?
That's back down again, I think.
Are you sitting like this?
No, my hand's still up, aye. Right, it's back down. When are we stopping at?
I don't know.
It's still going on, like,
you could
it's
end it now,
probably
because we're
good.
filling spaces in that, aye.
Aye.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.